Hi everyone and welcome back to the Snakemake series. In this episode we will cover how to integrate Snakemake with R. Probably you know about Snakemake, this amazing workflow manager, and most likely a lot of your code is R and you're wondering how to integrate both. Well, in this episode we will cover that, and we will start with the fast and easy way using an implemented function within Snakemake, and then we will move to a much richer and complex way where you can even use the R Markdown. So let's get started.
Very good. So we will start with a rule that we will name copy that takes an input file named sample.txt and will output another file named sample_new.txt. And what we are just going to do here is to copy the input into the output. So sample file just have the sample name there. And when we run the pipeline, we create the sample new that is the same as sample original sample. Okay, so now we want to use this R script to do this. So we have our rule with our input and our output. What we can do is to incorporate, instead of writing the shell, we write this script, and then we write the name of the script that we are going to use. In this case will be script R, and then we can go ahead and create that R script. And what we are going to do here is, okay, take that file sample and then write that file sample into the sample new. However, the problem is that we are hard coding the input and the output in the R script. So we want to understand, is there a way in which we can transfer this input and output as variable to the R script? And indeed there is. So when we use script, the Snakemake gives Snakemake variable with all the input and output and all the variables to the R script, and we can access them by writing Snakemake add input or add output. We can even add a parameter in our script, and we access it in the same way, writing add params. So when we run the pipeline, the file is generated. So what happens if we want to do R Markdown? That is something that is pretty handy to work with. How does Snakemake handle this? So we create our R Markdown and we just copy paste what we had before. And in this case, when we launch the pipeline, something interesting happens. When we check the sample new file, it doesn't look like a normal file. It creates the output as an HTML regardless of what is going on inside the script. So we actually don't want this. We want to give whatever output we want, not HTML. So we need to go back, in the case of RMD, to using the shell command. So we have our input, output, and we have the shell, and we have the R script that we have to call the program, and then we have to give all the inputs and the outputs as parameters. So that's what we are doing here. We just are calling R script and say run the R Markdown, and the one that we want to run is the copy.rmd, and here we pass all the list of parameters, including the input. Then we will also do the same for the parameter and for the output. So as you would know, this script RMD does have a header on top of the file, and is here where we need to specify all these parameters, input, output, and then we will access these parameters just calling the params add input, output, or any particular parameter. So the way it works, the input from the rule gets assigned to the inputs in the params within the shell command of the rule, and then this is populated in the header of the R Markdown script, and then we can access this input using the params objects within our script. So let's have a look at how that works in the practice. Here we are populating the header with the parameters that we want to give, and here we access the parameters with params at actually input, output, and first. And you can see here we have the result that we want. Okay, very good. So just one last thing before we move on. We touched in the previous chapter the concept of config file. Something that I like to do sometimes is to pass the config file as one of the parameters, because then you can access all the objects that you have within that config file within the R Markdown. You need to use this library YAML, and then you need to read the config file and pull out any parameter you have in that config file that you might be interested. So you can see there is the structure of the config file that we uploaded using this YAML function, and you can also see the structure of the param. So that's it for this episode. Next time I would like to talk about debugging a little bit. Snakemake is a complex beast. It incorporates many programs, and sometimes it's difficult to know when the pipeline crashes where's the issue. So that's what I want to cover next. You can check the rest of the videos in this series. You can access the playlist in the list, and if you like these videos, don't forget to subscribe. That will be great for me. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.